all the lights, bam, they go out. Then you hear a priest singing around the corner with a candle. He comes around, and I'm like, dude, this is some creepy shit, okay? It's like 12:30 at night, an hour after the singing. And we're going outside to walk around in the woods, or not in the woods, but around the church that's in the woods. So that's my buddy's religion. I'm not sugarcoating shit. That, hey man, I'm not religious. And then they immediately...
Straight to hell.
He didn't seem visibly upset throughout the rest of the night, which is awesome, in my opinion.
I saw him in the bathroom crying. The priest stood up and said, hold on, I feel unclean spirit here.
Oh, you're right, yeah.
And he walked over to him, said, we have a demon in our midst. We went to the Orthodox Pascha service for the first time. If you don't know what Pascha means, Pascha is Easter. So we went to our first Easter service, part of the Orthodox Church. I am an Orthodox Christian. He is not. And it's both of our first experience in an Orthodox Pascha or Easter service.
It's the holiest time of the year in the Orthodox Church, to my knowledge.
The Orthodox Pascha or Easter is considered the holiest day, the holiest service of the year. Orthodox Christians take Pascha very seriously. The whole week leading up to Pascha or Easter, Orthodox Christians go through a type of fasting, and then 40 days before that week, they go through 40 days of fasting. So it's 40 days of fasting. It's 6 days of Holy Week, which is considered the holiest week of the year, and there's more fasting. So Orthodox Christians fast for 46 days leading up to the Orthodox Pascha service and the Pascha day itself, Easter.
Even though this is my friend's religion, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not going to be biased about it. If we get upset and start arguing, that's fine. Just know what I'm going to talk about. I'm not trying to bother anybody. I'm not trying to offend anybody. But the service started with us going into, what do you call it? It's not called the chamber, I imagine. But,
a sanctuary?
Yeah. So we go in there and we sit down. It's very open. Like, it's not like JW. Like, JW had like aisles of seats. These seats were different. They were like on the back left side, back right side. The center is open and the middle of it's open. You can sit around the middle, but we decided to sit in the back and just take it in. And at this point, he had texted me saying, hey, let's make a video on this. I don't know how long it's going to be. I think it's going to be like 2 hours, okay? And I was expecting to hear excuse me, but are they called the priests in the Orthodox, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. I expected the priest to be preaching most of the sermon. The first thing I noticed was when we walked in, it's immediate chorus singing, which is fine. Chorus singing is completely fine if you like chorus singing, And I thought nothing of it. And the first hour goes by with the chorus. It's a straight hour of chorus singing, and you're expected to stand up because that's how you show your respect. You don't have to stand up, but I mean, if you want to be respectful, you stand up, of course, right? The first hour goes by, they're singing. I'm like, okay, they're probably done singing now. And the priest starts talking. I'm like, okay, we're all going to sit down. He's going to talk a little bit, and we'll go from there.
Service started at 11:30 on Saturday night.
Yeah, at night. Yeah.
And I did not know how long the service would be. Typically, Orthodox services are, anywhere between 30 minutes to hour and a half, give or take a few minutes. But this service ended up being 3 hours long. It started at 11:30 p.m. and it didn't end until around 2:50 or so a.m.
It was late.
Sunday morning.
Or early.
And, to start with, I gotta say the iconography, which is the images, the iconography was beautiful. Of course, I'm going to say that as an Orthodox Christian. To start, when you first come into the church, into the sanctuary, there's an icon of Jesus laying down, like as if he were in the tomb. He's laying down, and there was a Bible on top of him, kind of where his middle section would be, his abdomen.
His torso.
Torso, somewhere around here, yeah. Yep. And so that was a start, and I thought that was a beautiful visual. There was flowers behind it. You know, of course, the iconoclastics behind this icon of Jesus.
What he's saying is the painting of Jesus was beautiful, but behind that, like on the walls and stuff, there's even more paintings. Me being atheist, I'm not religious, I don't know what they all mean, but I can say they all looked really good. Like, it looked welcoming.
Yeah, so over on the right was Jesus Christ, an icon of Jesus. Over on the left was Mary, the mother of Christ, the mother of God.
Hate to say it, because it's my good buddy's religion, but it felt really, really cult-like. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like, who has a church meeting at 11:30 at night? You know what I mean? Like, how, I don't know if y'all's religions or churches do that, but I've never heard of it, to be honest with you. Like, going out, and I didn't expect anybody to be there, hardly, but everybody at that church was there, so that means they were really, really loyal to the church, I guess. Really, I can't think of the word for it. Devout. Yeah, they were super devout, because it was full.
It was Saturday night going into Sunday morning.
It was a Saturday night, and it was full. I couldn't believe it. Like, I expected maybe 10, 15 people would be there, you know, or a respectable little crowd. No, it was full, dude. Like, both sides of the seats were full. Some people were even standing. It just caught me really off guard. But something else they did too that night that I about forgot about was some people, while sitting there, they come in, because I sat by the door, is when they came in, they'd actually bow, like they do prostrations. So they come in and like do something like this. I'm sorry if I'm doing that completely wrong. I have no idea. And then they like get down on their like knees and like bow to the like the altar in the middle of the room. And look at it from my perspective. I'm just sitting there by the door. You know what I mean? And I don't believe in any of this. I'm just here for the experience. I'm taking notes. You know what I mean? But something else I'll say though about the Orthodox Church is, so far, out of every church I've ever been to in my life, they're some of the nicest people there. Like, they're not rude at all. Like, at all. Like, they're very polite. They're not super pushy either. Like, I'm about to take a shot at another religion. Don't hate me. Baptist people are very pushy. At least in my experience. They're very pushy about their religion. These people were not super pushy about it. But if you ask them a question, it's like their eyes lit up. They're very excited to explain it to you, in a way. If you ask the question, they wouldn't get upset about it at all, which is, honestly, that's a huge, like, positive, I guess. Like, you don't want to ask a question in a church and then have a bunch of people get pissed off at you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a bad sign. After all the singing, right? It's like 3 hours of singing, which bothered me, okay? Hate me if you want, okay?
What about after the first hour?
An hour and a half, yeah, of singing. Which, church singing's fine, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of it, so don't hate me for it. But all the lights, bam, they go out. And I'm like, wow. In my head, I'm like, the power just went out. I was like, wow, okay. And then you hear a priest singing around the corner with a candle. He comes around, and I'm like, dude, this is some creepy shit. You know what I mean? Like, he comes around, he's in his robe, he's singing, he's got a candle lit. And by this time, they had also handed everybody in the church a candle of their own. And they told us, don't light the candle until the priest comes around, which I had no idea what that meant at the time. Well, he comes around, all the lights are off. It's pitch black in this church. There's like 40 people there. We're in a room with 40 people, okay? It's pitch black. We all got candles. None of them are lit, besides the priest. Well, then he comes around, we light our candles. He's singing the entire time. I'm like, okay. And then whenever all the candles get lit, people start leaving the church. Like, the priest walks out. I'm like, okay, what's going on here, you know? And then members start following him. And it was front row goes behind the priest first, and then the second, of course, you know. But then it got to us in the back row. And at this point, I didn't really know what to think, to be honest with you, because I ain't never done nothing like this before. And me and him decide our candles are lit. Let's follow them out. which we do, and we follow them out, and they're singing the entire way. There's like 40, 50 people. I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere, like this. Like, imagine a church being right here where I'm standing, okay? Of course, a main road would be behind y'all, but the church would be here, and it's surrounded by woods. It's 11:30. Well, it's probably later than that. It's like 12:30 at night, okay? It's like 12:30 at night, an hour after the singing. And we're going outside to walk around in the woods, or not in the woods, but around the church that's in the woods with candles. And people are singing. And me and my buddy, we're at the very back. We got some footage that we'll definitely show. But we're walking around, people are singing. And I think even in the video that we'll show, you can hear me say, "What the fuck?" Because it's weird, man. Like I ain't trying to judge it or nothing. Because I like to go into these churches. I'm not biased at all. Okay, not at all. Even though that's my buddy's religion, I'm not sugarcoating shit. Okay, simple as that. And we're walking around. We walk all the way around the church with candles at 12:30 at night on a Saturday night. There's 40 people. Everybody has candles. Everybody, and they're singing, right? And we finally get around the whole church, and then we get back to the main door of the church, and it's kind of like the JW, like I talked about how they did a skit, but the Orthodox Church did a skit at the door. It was like the priest knocked on the door, and someone on the other side, inside the church, said, "Who's the king?" And then the priest, I believe, said Jesus or something like it was something along those lines, like God or Jesus, something like that. I'm sorry, I don't remember. That's kind of absorbing the moment. But they did this like 3 times, okay? And after all that, we go back in the church. I'm like, okay, it's over. You know what I mean? Like, the service is over. It's time to say goodbyes and leave. It's like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. It's late. You know what I mean? And we go back in there and we sit back down. All of our candles are still lit. I didn't really understand that. Like, if we were supposed to blow our candles out after all that. But everyone else had their candles lit. Everybody else had them lit. So I kept mine lit. And we get back in there and we stand back at our seats. And it's like another hour, if not an hour and a half, of straight singing. Again. Which, I ain't gonna lie, I was a little bit annoyed, okay? I was pretty annoyed by it. Because I get singing, but as a non-religious person, every song sounds the same to me. It's always about Jesus, God, believing, giving up to God. It's the same premise. Like I said, I'm not trying to bash anybody for it at all. That's just coming from my eyes and my ears. And after 3 hours, or after like an hour and a half of singing, I'm done with it. I don't want to hear any more singing, any more chorus. The chorus was amazing, though, don't get me wrong. I was just kind of tired of it. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to hear some preaching.
Of course, an atheist and an Orthodox Christian reviewing the Orthodox Christian Church, you're going to get very different perspectives, which I think is the beauty of this channel, and this video in particular. Because I loved this service. The Orthodox Pascha service was the most beautiful, the most joyous service that I've ever been a part of. I've been several hundred, maybe 1,000 or more services. I spent probably thousands of hours within a church or within a church type setting doing something that the people I'm with view as worshiping God. And this was by far the most beautiful service that I've ever been a part of. They walk around outside the church with their candles, and the members and the priests are chanting and singing, and I thought that was very beautiful. I really enjoyed that, and I'm enjoying this, and I'm seeing my friend here, who's an atheist, who doesn't seem to be enjoying it, and then he fills me in that he thinks this is some cult stuff, and I'm thinking, I think I could see that. I could see a little bit how this would resemble maybe something weird to a non-believer, because one, they don't understand like the spiritual or religious purposes behind it, and then two, they see it from a different perspective. They don't see it from a perspective of believing, and they see it from a perspective of it's a bunch of dudes and women and kids walking around outside with candles
At 11:30 at night in the woods.
Yeah.
I can't stress this enough, guys. If you're not religious, even if it is in the city, and let's say your first ever service at the Orthodox Church, you decide to go on Easter, and you have no knowledge of what you're walking into, right? Which we did. I mean, we knew it was the most religious day of the year for them, right? Now, I didn't know I was going to be walking around with a candle in the woods.
I didn't either.
Chanting. I didn't know that, okay? Now, it wasn't like we sacrificed a chicken or a lamb or nothing. And nothing like crazy. But we still walked around the church that's in the woods at 12:30 at night with candles, which is, well, I'm sure y'all have probably done seen the footage by this point in the video. It looks creepy. Like, I hate to, it's people singing. I don't know if we got the priest in the camera, but okay, we did, yeah. So the priest and there's like 2 or 3 priests, if I ain't mistaken.
There's only one priest. There's another man that's a deacon.
A deacon, yeah.
And then the other people are altar servers.
So we got
They're
a priest,
not priest or deacon.
deacon, and altar servers.
Yes.
They were in the front.
Yes.
They were leading the charge, I guess.
Yeah.
Pack, whatever you want to call it. And
Pack.
yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. And they were singing, and the people behind them were singing. And I will notice I didn't have any really weird experiences while I was there. I'm 2 for 2 with my hat in these churches, and I still can't believe it. Like, I really expected somebody to tell me to take my hat off during the most holy day of the year at this church. They didn't. I couldn't believe it. My hat was on the entire 3 hours, which really surprised me, which I know that looks disrespectful to y'all, or not y'all, but if you look at it from like a religious standpoint, you're supposed to take your hat off. Some dude did try, though, to like peer pressure me into taking my hat off. Like, he was wearing a hat and he stood beside me. This was a different dude to my left. This was before the first dude. And he took his hat off and he kind of like slammed it down on the chair beside me. And I looked at it and he was looking at me, and he was like tapping his foot on the ground by the chair. And I was kind of like, it felt like peer pressure, but at the same time it didn't. Because I want to see what I can get away with in these churches, since I'm not religious. And I wanted to see if I could get away with wearing my hat during the most religious day of the year in this church, which I did.
Would you say that this church was open or welcoming to visitors, to non-believers, maybe more specifically?
Well, I will say, though, to be fair, I never told anybody I'm atheist. Like, I've never done that in church. Maybe in the future I'll do that, see what kind of reactions I get. That's a lie, actually. I went to the bathroom during that service. There was a man there. He was in the hallway. I don't know if he's like a hallway monitor or something at the church. Like, I ain't even trying to make fun of him or nothing, but he stood there the entire time, right? And I went to the restroom, and he started talking to me, and he said, "How long have you been Orthodox?" I was like, "Yeah, man, I don't really believe in religion. I'm just here for the experience." And me and him had talked like 5 minutes before this, like 5 minutes straight. We're talking about religion. I was like, "Yeah, man, I don't really believe in it." He said, "Oh, okay," and then did this. Turned his back to me. Didn't talk to me the rest of the night. Which I hold nothing against that guy. You know, that's his religion. I told him I don't believe in any religion. He didn't try to convert me, which I kind of respected, to be honest with you. Like, if you tell a Baptist, "Yeah, I don't believe," they're like,
Yeah.
"Why? Why not? Why? Why? Tell me why. Why?" You know what I mean? They're all up in your grill, and they want you to be converted.
You don't believe Billy Bob at the Billy Bob Baptist Church?
Exactly.
Pastor Billy Bob?
Now, this guy, I told him I don't believe. He said, "Okay." And he just disengaged from the conversation. I went to the bathroom. I walked back past him. He didn't say nothing to me. Didn't even look at me. It wasn't like, it's not like he got really upset about it, which to me, that's kind of a positive. Like, I don't like telling someone that, "Hey, man, I'm not religious," and then they immediately...
Straight to hell.
Yeah, exactly, that. Like, "You're going to burn in hell, boy." Like, no, I don't like that. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't get upset about it, like, at all. Like, at least I don't think he did. Like, he didn't seem visibly upset throughout the rest of the night, which is awesome, in my opinion.
I saw him in the bathroom crying.
Oh, did you? Yeah, right, yeah, right.
That was a joke.
Right, yeah, but all in all, though, the Orthodox Church was very friendly compared to the JW Church, at least in my opinion.
You know what happened at the end of the service? The
Uh,
priest stood up and said, "Hold on. I feel unclean spirit here.
Oh, you're right, yeah.
And he walked over to him, said, "We have a demon in our
Yeah.
midst."
Right, yeah.
I'm kidding.
It's nothing
Joke.
like that.
Joke.
It's a very chill church. It's
Yeah,
very
at the
chill.
Jehovah's Witnesses, I could totally see that happening.
Yeah. They actually offer wine at the end of their service.
Oh, yeah.
If I ain't mistaken, they have
The Eucharist.
The Eucharist.
Or as the Protestants would call it, a communion.
Yeah. So they have two different things of wine. And he came up to me. He's like, "Hey, do you want some wine?" I was like, "No, not really." I was like, "I don't really want to be a part of it," because in my head at the time, it felt like a cult. You know what I mean? Like we had just walked around church in the woods singing and with candles lit. Looked like a bunch of psychopaths and anybody on the main road passing us, I bet. But it's like, "Hey, you want some wine?" I was like, "Yeah, no, not really." And then he came back with some wine, but it was non-ceremony wine, if I ain't mistaken.
So the Eucharist would be the wine mixing with the bread that the priest prays over and blesses and serves it to Orthodox Christians, members of the Orthodox Church. However, they have parts of wine and bread that's not part of the Eucharist, that is blessed by the priest, but it's not part of the Eucharist, that they give out to visitors, to all people, all religions, all beliefs.
Right.
Which is what I offered to him.
And I obligated, because I had been standing there for 3 hours. I was like, "Okay, I'll try it," which I did. Kind of disgusted myself for taking it, to be honest with you, because it kind of looked like I submitted, and I took it, which I did. I drunk it. It wasn't bad. I didn't die. I didn't turn into a zombie or nothing.
Yet.
I didn't go, "Ooh," you know what I mean? But
Yet.
yeah, but back to the feast thing I was talking about. I wanted to bring the wine thing up. But after the wine thing, then they had the feast, and they told me I could leave. So I left immediately because I was ready to go home. I was ready to go to bed. I was tired. And because I'm not religious, I wasn't interested. Okay, that sounds really bad. I'm interested to be there. I'm not interested enough to be there at 3 a.m. Okay? If that sounds normal. So they told me I can leave. So I storm out. I get greeted on the way out. I said, "Okay, have a blessed day," or night, I guess. And I leave. And I'm walking out. And I was pretty pissed off, I ain't gonna lie. And I said a couple choice words, a couple F-bombs, maybe a GD. Ooh, sorry, yeah, I know, I'm probably going to hell for that one. This ain't on church ground. And I thought nobody was in the parking lot because I was walking out because I wanted some air. And this church was hot, by the way. Like, it felt hot in there, to me at least.
That's the demons in them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it felt warm in there to me at least. But I went outside; it was a little bit cooler. I had my choice words, and I thought nobody was in the parking lot. Well, I was completely wrong because there was a woman about 10 feet from me in her car, looking right at me as I was chatting my shit, basically. And I was like, "Oh, great," because this is his church, you know what I mean, and I'm his friend. I was like, "Oh man, I just made him look real bad." I was like, "Oh great," and then there ain't nothing I can do about it, so I couldn't justify it. Two more things. I gotta take 30 seconds, less actually. The church smelled amazing.
Incense, yes.
And it was very clean.
Would you ever go back willingly in terms of just interest? Pure interest?
They're saying like off camera, not making a video, just going back for the experience myself.
Yes.
No. Sorry. I probably won't go back to the Easter event. I'm sorry. Because I don't want to stand around and hear singing for 3 hours again. If I'm being honest with you, it didn't feel more cult-like than JW, but it was close. But only because of the candle ceremony. That was the only thing. But walking around at night with a candle, singing, kind of creepy, I'm not going to lie. But all in all, if I had to rate the church, it smelled good. It had nice people. It had non-pushy people, which is insanely high up on the chart for me. No one asked me where I lived. Bonus. I didn't get followed into the bathroom. Bonus. No speakers in the bathroom. Another bonus.
1 to 10.
1 to 10?
Yes. 1 to 10, honesty.
One being the worst, 10 being the best.
Yes.
Well, I've only ever spent time in the Baptist, in the JW, now in the Orthodox. So, when it comes to friendliness, I'd give Orthodox above the other two, easily. So I'd probably put it at like a 7. But if I was religious, I'd probably put it at like an 8.5 or a 9.
We love your comments. Leave more for us, please. And let us know what you think of this video and what you want out of future videos from us.